It's Tuesday. This is Trekland HQ version 2. Yeah. And we are live. The Other Guys magazine is gone now too, Star Trek. Today on episode 448 of Trekland Tuesdays Live with me, Dr. Trek, Larry Nemechek, coming at you here from the heart of Trekland through Portal 47. And yes, you're home for the Trekland Treks, your chance on your time to arrange for a customized away mission, the landing party of a lifetime, to 4 places you want to see around Southern California that were actual Star Trek film sites with my help. And letting Dr. Trek concierge you around, drive you, handle all the details. That's where we are. That's where we are. It's another Tuesday. If I can get the chat rolling, there we go. And here we are, another Tuesday, another lifer. We are barreling into summer. We are in between headlines a little bit, although plenty of stuff bubbles up. And it's a Tuesday, so I just want to say welcome to all of our new TTLers today. If this is your first time through, hey, introduce yourself. You got to find yourself the chat, because that's kind of the heart of TTL. We've got great folks from all over the world. That's why I do it at this time of day. We've got folks from usually at least 2 continents, if not more, besides North America. It's a great time to listen to what's happening in the rest of the world, get the get that perspective, get out of our American blinders here. And yeah, if you're new, you know, or if you're new, you don't know, go introduce yourself. Let us know how the weather is where you are. How's the trek? How are things for you in this crazy world, in this crazy fandom right now that's in so much flux? And just a word of advice. I'm welcoming everybody, especially on YouTube. Thank you so much. YouTube is where you can see all of the comments in the chat. If you're on Facebook, you're only going to see the Facebook comments. And also, if you're on Facebook, you might, if you're so inclined, drop a little bit of silver to me. We have Super Chat here on YouTube, and that's always appreciated. So thank you very much. Keeping our blossoming, burgeoning Trekland online empire alive and growing. Yeah, since 2017, when it was simple Facebook Live on the back of your iPhone. Anyway, good to see everybody today. And listen, if you're joining us later on YouTube, sure, it's not live, but you can still leave a comment. Drop your say-so in the comments below. Keep the conversation going. And maybe some Tuesday you can join us live. I know it's a hassle. It's during the day. But again, I like it this because we can reach more of the world. And if you're watching us later, then you're on your own time. So there you go. And I do want to say we are kind of in a slow down time, don't you think? We're waiting for Strange New World in July. Those of us who can handle more than one thing at a time are all wondering what's going to happen down the line, down the pike. But one of the things that's determining what's going on in the world, and I'm going to talk, another thing for you newbies, the chat is here. If it looks like I'm not paying attention to the chat, I will. We'll talk here on my little soapbox, take a micro break, and then come back, and I will dive into the chat for at least 2 or 3 hours, the first 2 or 3 hours. No, we have to get out of the way for all the other fun. As it has evolved, it wasn't planned like this in 2017, but as it's evolved, we've got the other Tuesday afternoon folks on that you can go chat raid. So yeah, hang on, jump in now, get all the howdy doos out of the way and everything. But I will be back around to the chat, because today is, no, it's not a breaking news headline for Trek, but it's one of those things that feels adjacent. Because let me just say this, some of you may know what I'm talking about. Some of you may have no idea. Well, here's the thing. I was never part of it, and yet I felt linked. Yeah, I'm talking about, well, something that had so many owners, so many generations, so many attitudes, so many ups and downs. And in the end, it was screens over paper. Sound familiar? Yeah, listen, last week or so, it was announced that to the public that the current issue of Star Wars Insider, it was out, and it was the last one. It would be the final issue. It was number 237. It had been owned by Titan magazines since 2007, which is a huge long run. Now, I don't have a copy. We might get one up here digitally later, but I wasn't part of it, and yet I feel like I was. And I feel like all of Star Trek was here. Look, it brought back what happened just a year and a half ago. The last issue of Star Trek's magazine, which was called Explorer at the end. Now, this is not the final issue. I was digging around trying to find my final issue because I had been a part of this. I had been associated with the Star Trek Titan magazine ever since, oh lords, 1995, issue 5 onward. We talked about this when Explorer did go down a year and a half ago right here. I was approached by John Freeman, who wound up being the last editor, as it turns out, because Titan has a pool of editors and they all kind of cycle around to what used to be their big army of licensed magazines from different franchises, different IP. He approached me about coming in and doing some news bits because at the time there was a, I don't know, what do we call it now? The wall. It wasn't, it wasn't Omega 47 mines, but it was a wall almost between the US and the UK and the rest of the world as far as our everyday awareness. Because I'm talking 1995. So that's the year I got my first email account, was 1995. AOL, yes, indeed. And it was, the communication was harder. So they were prizing having someone in LA to help them with news and updates because they were licensed, but that didn't help. A lot of times, just because you're licensed and paying a fee does not mean you get the stuff you feel like you're paying to have for fans as an official license bit. And we've talked about that before. I should talk about that again someday. We'll talk tales from the licensing trail sometime and the realities of that. But yeah, I've been part of Titan since 1994. Star Trek, the original Star Trek monthly magazine, was the first of Titan's magazine stable that then grew up big. But it was also at that time the official UK magazine, because as you guys may remember, we had an official US magazine. Well, we had the magazine of the official Star Trek fan club officially. And somehow the magazine of the official fan club could be parsed by also having an official magazine. Remember the thick one? We used to call it the Architectural Digest Star Trek magazine. So envious of Tricia Palmer. They got to recycle all the Fact Files techie material, which no one in America had ever seen, and then throw in 6 or 8 really great interviews with Star Trek creators. And it's sometimes a piece analysis of the shows. So, yeah, Star Wars Insider went down last week when Star Trek Explorer, the Titan's official magazine, which became official for the US as well, when Communicator went down 10 years later in 2005, sadly. And yeah, Star Trek was their first licensed magazine of any kind. And then they took over the US edition and made it the global Star Trek magazine, the worldwide license, in 2005, maybe even into 2006. No, 2005, I think. But wow, 95, 05, it was the boom years, for Star Trek. And I don't know, it was the last time we had actual boom years in terms of actual numbers and actual viewers and sales and cultural impact, right? Yeah. What's funny is I would have been the Star Trek editor if people in the US had had their wishes made. They wanted me to transfer Communicator over to the Titan magazine, but Titan had a policy, which I understand. They only had, all their editors were in the UK. Just they couldn't handle, the currency and they could for freelancers, but handling them as an employee or not, or a part-time employee, was just beyond. So even though folks over here, looking at you, JVC, pushed them to have me just jump over and be editor there. They didn't. And it was fine. We kept up with there's a whole tribe. And really, it was a pleasure to be a writer, doing reporting. I did news bits at the beginning until we had a foul up one time and it caused bad blood at the studio. So I said, how about I let somebody else hassle with the timely stuff and I'll do long-term deep dives. And yes, I think by 1998, I started writing the Q&A column and it soon got named Fistful of Dollars. And I did a column for a couple of years, but over 25 years, I had in with the Titan Trek magazine, And even as the years went by, we had a splendid audience and so many other IP attractions. Titan had that Star Trek magazine and rebranded as Explore a couple years ago. Had it until December 2024. And at the time, we knew that it was way more about the shift from dead tree media to paperless entertainment, to the screen here. At the time, Titan said, oh, well, there's only 2 more licensed magazines existing. There's Star Wars Insider, and then the Doctor Who magazine from Panini Comics, which, oh my God, I didn't realize it's the longest running IP franchise official magazine ever. It started by Panini. It's 47 years old. There is no sign of let up last time I checked. And Doctor Who's having its ups and downs too. Yeah, I mentioned that, and I mentioned all this. I mentioned a year and a half ago when we did an obituary right here for the Trek magazine. But look at this. Who? Wars? Trek? It's all the old timers. They've had their ups and downs, in fresh output or not over the decades. But wow. Insider? Star Wars now? Wow. That's all I can see. Or is it? Is it really a wow? Because if you think about it, the only thing shocking is that even the power of Star Wars couldn't outrun culture and shifting times. I did not see this, but even Star Wars Insider lasted only a year and a half longer than Star Trek's magazine did. Wow. Hey, I remember, never had anything to do with the Star Wars Insider magazine. I never had anything to do with Star Wars officially. I did more franchise work, a tiny, tiny bit, for Firefly than I did for Star Wars. It's just that way. Some people, and Doctor Who too, although I probably know more. Well, I don't know about that. I just never had time for anything else. Firefly came the closest, but it was only 13 episodes in a movie. As a universe and a world to explore. I'm not gatekeeping. I'm shocked that Star Wars has lasted as long as it has past the cool toys, but that's fine. That's awesome. Not gatekeeping. I know people love baseball, and I know people love basketball, and I know people love hockey, and I know people love soccer. Excuse me, football. It's just not for me, right? We're all like that. I don't, if I have a team, it's just because I have a geographical, yay, Thunder right now. So yeah, that's the way I was with Star Wars. It was fine. It was great. I never had anything. And I've got friends and colleagues. Of course they write, so they write everywhere. I'm a Trek person who writes. So that's kind of me. If it's not Trek, then it's history. It's Will Rogers. It's something else. But I do know that for a time it was the Bantha Tracks instead of Star Wars Insider. And I have an insight on the Star Wars magazine because, yes, my good friend, colleague, and one-time boss at the official Star Trek fan club of the U.S. and the official Star Trek fan club magazine, later the Communicator, Dan Madsen, Dan founded and ran for the first, 10 years or so. Star Wars Insider. It was a newsletter to start in 1987. Took them 10 years to get going. Yeah. But we talk about all of this, and I guess apart from all the nostalgia and the sadness, when you see an institution going, like the Star Wars Insider magazine now, only a year and a half after the Star Trek Explorer magazine went down, both of them from Titan. Yeah. Apart from the nostalgia and the sadness, and yeah, uprooting in at least some slices of Star Wars fandom, same as Explorer was for Trek. It really is. It's like a 1-2 punch to remind us especially, that the world has changed. The audience has changed. We have changed. And, if not us so much, then our nieces and our nephews, grandkids, and just anyone who finds it nostalgically weird to get their info from a hunk of dead trees and to turn pages. It's like the way it must strike some people these days, the idea that you have to get up and change a TV channel or get up and answer a phone, go to the kitchen. Yeah. Which in turn reminds us that we all really do read differently and we watch differently. And again, if not us, then the younger kids, some of which are kids at the ripe old age of, 35. Now, I will say, I'm sorry, but a pad, much like a phone, is not the way to unfold a really cool ship blueprint, or to read a stage plan. Even if we can pinch in, I get it. So all this is to say, it's not the magazines, it's the screen itself. I mean, how do we watch shows now? How are they designed? And much more. Have you been keeping up with this? How are they written? I think this is going to be one of those unexamined in many quarters. I think it's a core issue that circles of Hollywood and critics are talking about, but I don't think this has still trickled down to the vast audience, to our awareness, to my big army of armchair fans out there. Did you ever hear the term two-screen writing or double screen writing? It's a concept that thinks you basically have to dumb down the writing today in your TV, especially your TVs, because the streaming companies assume that no one is watching just your show, just one show. They think that your show that you're writing, it has to compete with all the multitasking. It has to compete, or, just lazy bored habit, where people are supposedly watching at least one other screen or email or text or their baby monitor or the Ring camera at the door. Even another show and movie at the same time. And you have to make everything so unnuanced, so unsubtle, that they don't miss the flow. Now, look, this needs to be a whole other topic some other Tuesday. And meanwhile, its impact is still going to keep marinating with us inside Trek and out. As I said, we're still just figuring out the effects, and I'm sure that most of the audiences out there aren't aware of what's going on. Even if they feel something in their bones and they may critique their show, why are you not writing? Why is Star Trek being dumbed down so much? This is part of the concept there. And we'll see. Does it triumph overall? Is it a passing fad? Is it like the 9th generation of 3D movies? Or if we permanently suffer from it, unless there's a premium way that we can get screen stories at some point where we pay for better writing because someone at some studio will know it's worth it if we pay for it. I don't know. Yeah, so let's put a pin in that one. It deserves a lot more awareness. It deserves a lot more study and a lot more just people talking. But it's a given. That's already out there. And if it's a given that that's already out there, is it so surprising that paper reading is going down? No, it's It's not surprising. Look, I'm not a Luddite. Yes, telegraph eventually gave way to the telephone. Network radio eventually gave way to TV. I get it. Blacksmith horseshoeing gave way to tire repair shops. I get it. So I'm not trying to be, a throwback here, a flat earther. Heaven knows there's enough of them, really, apparently. But because what I'm trying to say here is these magazines going down, it's not a reflection on Star Trek. Oh, look, even Star Wars lost its APM, its actual paper magazine. I just made that up. Yeah. How long until all of these culture tech intersections finally add up to trends and new ways that even the old fogies over 40 aren't aware of? We're in a fluxy time. The problem is there's always been change. It just comes faster and faster and faster. I know there's a sociological, cartographic, whatever, geographic term for that. Change comes, but it just comes in faster and faster ways. And we have to keep adjusting to the shock value of change. They're not always, the A-bomb went off and that's what's throwing us. It's like algorithms creeped up on us. So I don't know. All I'm saying today is, yes, RIP Star Wars Insider and RIP Star Trek Explorer again. And maybe even amazing multi-layered writing for TV, for films. And even screen episodes longer than 90 seconds. Is this a trend that might bounce back? I don't think so. Why? Well, I mean, it's cool to save trees, but it's like writing email. I mean, I'm sorry, it's like writing letters instead of email. I don't know what Ken Burns is going to do 50 years from now when there's no handwriting letters to languidly pan across in your documentaries. Just, Calibra or Helvetica fonts on email, all looking the same. No. I mean, it is sad. But again, it's not a reflection on the value of these IPs. Star Trek and Star Wars, it's not a reflection on them or the franchises or the story universe. It's just the way of our times. Or what do you think? I'm going to dig into the chat here. I'm looking forward to it. And hey, if you're watching us later, I'm looking forward to the comments that you're going to leave below here later on. Yep, on YouTube. But please send them on. Everybody get ready here to talk on our chat. And meanwhile, I'm going to thank all of our Patreons. Yay! Once again for being here with us. Hey, our TTLers, that's Chuck A., James Kerwin, Diana Hopkins, Halbert Gunnjonson, Lawrence Todd, Chris Jiggins, Mitch Keith, Keith Rombach, J.R. Poole, Pranakasha Productions, Comedy Forecast, and Andrew Jazimski. And our live wires. Look at that club grow. Thank you. Toby Peregrino, Elizabeth Stretz, Josh Eve. Yes, Gary Williams, Robert McLean, Byron Bailey, David Gall. That's my gaff. Yeah. MJ Frug, Chris Garris, Brandon Coles, Dave Gregory. Whoa, let's wave the flag the other way. Jesse at Crusher Convo, Donna S. Runyon, and Casey Shafsky. Thanks much, guys. That's my little burgeoning Patreon of my own. If you're interested, I'm asking a mere meager, I think, $5 or $10 a month. Yes, for a shout out and for the $10 extra access to my often promised early Portal 47 backstage interviews. I say early. Portal's been going for, now we're past 10 years. We're into our 11th year. Thank you, everybody, for all of that. I've got an announcement. I wanted to make an announcement. I don't think I still can yet, but very soon, the Trek Files will be back for season 15. We've got some awesome first of season openers, episodes. We might even double up the episodes some way. We've got so much to throw at you. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Very close. I can probably announce this officially in a day or two. I just didn't make it for Tuesday. But the Trek Files, yes, it's the only podcast with paper digitally. Again, no dead trees. Right there at thetrekfiles.com on Memory Alpha is our official page now with all the past seasons and the newest ones, all the documents, an audio player, and all the hot links back into Memory Alpha or podcast.roddenberry.com. Or yes, you can still find us on the old Facebook page and jump in and say there. The Roddenberry Patreon that Mission Log is a part of, and all the Roddenberry podcasts, like the Trek Files, is our home for our Trek Files meetup every other Tuesday at 4 p.m., Trek Files Tonight, as well as the message boards for community for the Trek Files, as well as all the other, Mission Log and all the other Roddenberry podcasts and their message boards and communities. And people have message boards and even meetups for a lot of other franchises that aren't Star Trek. So it's a really good hub. Best of all, you can be in there for as little as $1 a month. $1 a month, you can get the Trek Files community and all the rest of the Roddenberry podcasts and even more. The live meetups and the message boards. So I really wish, apart from my Patreon, thank you all very much. For another $1 a month, you can be part of the Trekophiles, spelled with an F, and all the Roddenberry over at the Roddenberry Patreon, the Mission Log Patreon. Other than that, guys, my socials here right now for closing on YouTube are at Larry Nemechek. It's the Twitter and the Blue Sky. Larry's Trekland on Facebook, Instagram, and yes, especially YouTube. Like and subscribe if you haven't. Ring the bell. Thank you so much. Our numbers are actually finally starting to take off. We're still not at the 1.5 million that the bozos that know nothing have no cred, but somehow they're snarky and mean enough. They've got tons of viewers. But here, where we're halfway curated and we've halfway got, 30 years in with professional Star Trek, we're still bopping along singing a song side by side. Thank you. And of course, portal47.net, your backstage pass to more in-depth Trek. It's like a mini-con all year long. We just had Beth Ehrenveld, who was one of the costume crew on Picard for 2 years. First time we've had anybody from wardrobe and costuming in ages as our guest on Portal 47 last month. More to come. We've got some editors and some post-producers coming up across the eras, as well as our portales and our roundtables and things out of my archives. It's for all the Trek fans who have no idea how much Star Trek they have no idea about. Yeah. I wish I had my little Portal 47. There we go. I'll just use that one. Portal47.net. Yeah. And don't forget TreklandTreks.com. Your own customized away mission around SoCal. Love to have you have that. And it's summer. What a great, especially experiential way to celebrate the 60th. When you're out for Vegas, if you come to LA, if you're out for Comic-Con San Diego and you're passing through, whatever is floating your boat, it's only a day, unless you want to do 2 days. 6 hours, 4 stops, and me leading the way for you, so you don't have to think about anything but your great Czech experience. Check it out. That's going to do it for today on YouTube. Later. So I'm just going to say for those leaving us now, please stay healthy, do all the things. Please, in this year of our Lord 2026, please stay awoke, check the sources, and trek well, everybody. We'll see you next week. Next week with guests, plural. Okay. Hey ho. That's what we call the columnists' manufactured commentary. You take something going on in the world and you bring it back to your home base. But it's true. It's true. It puts another perspective once again on part of the whole debate about what is Star Trek, how did it do under Kurtzman, how might it do under somebody else, how does Star Trek shift over the years? Is it always an upward curve? Will it all ever retrench? Did we just see a retrenchment, or are we just not out of our own trench enough yet to see it? Same way we looked at, especially DS9 back in the day. That show that was hard to keep up with. It sure wasn't TNG. And now look at how we view DS9 and even Voyager and even Enterprise. So let's see who all's here. I'm backtracking. We had a light turnout last week, but here's Joel and here's Astral. You don't mind if I call you Astral, do you? And there's Transporter Room. It's Chris. And here's Sherry. Yes. And Plushy McCoy is back there watching on. Oh, Ma, you're still in Western North Carolina and will be here until the end of May. Wow, I thought you were coming home. Still recovering from the floods up in the hills and hollers. It's a long time back. It reminds me so much of the fires in the Palisades. Yeah. Yeah, all the niche magazines are dying. The only thing you see on newsstands are generic wide-selling mags. Yeah, that are just cranked out and not by a stable. I mean, I say that, but not by a stable of people. Just it's magazines in general is my point. Yeah. And who's checking out at grocery stores and convenience stores anyway that have extra money? Is it anybody under 30? No, I don't think so. Hey, Philip, look at everybody. Hey, Christoph. Oh, no, I'm so sorry. Oh, my goodness. Astral, thank you so much. I would answer your question, but I don't see one. But thank you so much. I do appreciate that. Oh, okay. Well, take care out there. Our heart is with everybody still recovering from the insane flooding where there never should have been flooding in the first place. It was just crazy. It was hurricane related, right? Right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Christian is in here. And let's see. Oh, hey, Cairo. Larry, being online means you're already late for karaoke and should leave. Cairo, you do you. That's cool. You can be a later, if not live. Hey, Willie's here. Yes. Well, Astral, we're glad to have you with us. Yeah. The slow time, Joel, where you try and figure out if you can do a T-Rex costume for STFB and if you can still drink while wearing it. I don't know. That doesn't sound like slow times. That sounds like you'd better be on the ball with that one and had it figured out. Oh, here's Doralta. Good evening from Germany. There we go. See? Okay, Captain Calvin. Yes, on both. I know you're bi-platformal. Yes, magazines lose out. Yeah. Oh, what are you saying, Joel? They have those in. Oh, we're on the T-Rex. Okay. Okay. You're now getting around to seeing all of season 3 of Strange New, and you liked it. Could have done without the zombie episode, but the rest was okay. Oh. See, that's another thing. How do seasons sit with people? 10-episode streaming seasons sit with people on a binge basis versus the week-to-week slog? Is there a completely different vibe when you do what Doralta did versus what most of us did, which is week to week to week? Interesting. That whole thing about why was half the season I take a big swing. Hey, Christoph. Not asking, just assuming Portal 47 European AD is on for tomorrow. No, Christoph. I said this last month. I have travel tomorrow too. So it's next week. It's the 20th. Ask Dr. Trek Roundtable. The Europe midday is next week, the 20th. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Chris. That is the year you graduated from high school. Oh, well, there we are. But look at you getting to graduate here 30 years, getting to retire from school 30 with your retirement time in 30 years later, 25 years. Okay, everybody chiming in with your timings. Okay, okay. Hey, Duralta. Kevin Dillmore and I did this at SoonerCon the year he was a guest. And then we're going to see if we can do something like this at Vegas this year, not with me, but with at least one of them, the panel being at least one of our recent guests, where we talked about it a little bit. Hey, it's Power Ranger Donnie. Hope everybody is well. This evening marks 4 decades since NBC introduced its new Rainbow Peacock logo. Huh. Wait, 40 years? 1986? Okay. Okay. Oh, thank you, Christoph. So yeah, we won't have a update tomorrow. I'll have to hold a week. Warp 2 Star Fury convention 2 weeks ago. Sean said 2 was the last WarpCon for now, but according to the closing ceremony, Warp 3 might happen someday. 2 was okay, but not 100%. Okay, thank you for the con report across the pond. Hey, Josh. Good to see you there. Thanks for jumping in. You'd say in the 90s and in the early aughts, we all had more money. Might that be? Maybe globally so. Yeah, I think so. Feels like it. Hey, Sean, you going to throw in some trivia here in a minute? Happy Harrimans. Always appreciate that sentiment. Like and subscribe. You need more than one bathroom when you have bullions on board. Thank you. I think that's something Will Rogers would have said. Yes. Oh, hey, Judas. Hi from Toronto. Feeling as Trekish as before in Toronto? I don't know. Philip, it's funny that your space adventure series is called Explore, so it's a good name. Yeah, yeah, I think so. That was the name of the first American satellite after Sputnik. Explorer 1 and Explorer 2. Yes, yes. Philip, yeah, it is a shame that there's a reduction in fandom magazines. I mean, for one thing, they're paper. I still have boxes of, well, I have my communicators, but I have Star Trek magazines. I'm going to donate them to a library, but I have some of those 90s. It'd be nice to get them in order because they went in different places over time. But I would get 5 or 2 comp copies every issue of all the Titans that I was part of. That's a lot. I sold some of the number 1s and number 2s 10 years ago, but I still have a few. It says something. We still get the information, but what's the long-term impact? If everything that's stored digitally, it's accessible, but I just don't know about the impact culturally when we're all digital only. What's the awareness? Maybe it's just the brains will be wired differently by another 20 years and people won't even think about. It's like once the book was invented, did people miss cave writing, cave drawing? I do not know, Kirk. I really do not know. There you go. Comparison reactions to season 3. Yep. And ready for season 4. I'm sure there was a Stargate magazine at one point. I'm sure that is. Yeah, it went down very fast. See, Stargate, a little bit like, there may have been a Firefly magazine, but I mean, Firefly was a fandom that went on way longer than it had any business to, just judging by the aired time. Stargate had 3 series. multiple season series, so it had a lot more oomph as an anchoring point. There was a lot more to talk about. Yeah. Let's see. We got the Germans and the Germanics all talking here. Let's see. In a way, the site itself is an e-magazine. Yeah. There was, I meant to mention this. There was a time I was looking 10 years ago, Chris Jones, the podcast pioneer with Trek FM network, Chris Jones and I pitched to licensing an interactive digital magazine. It's called Star Trek Scan. And we would have, written articles, but you would have links, and the links would pop up video to other existing video or own video, and like interactive endnotes and footnotes. And we had a plan. We were going to do it. He had a backer, and we were foiled because ultimately licensing decided that Titan's carve out for an electronic magazine, which was just PDFs of the pages of print, was going to satisfy that, and they couldn't carve us out a separate niche. If we'd had a ton of money or some kind of karmic apology coming, like Midsummer, now Linklater Eaglemoss, they were owed a U.S. niche, and so they made that niche for them because their partnership with Pocketbooks never happened, thanks to Pocketbooks back in the day. Very zealously guarded silos of who had what in licensing. And they were owed an American slot, so they carved that out. But we were just us with a startup, and nobody wanted to ruffle any feathers and make anybody mad. So Titan just went along offering that digital subscription, but they weren't interactive. They were just copies of the pages of the actual print magazine. So what would have happened if we had been allowed to start you would have had an interactive magazine 10 years ago that was trying to bridge the coming wave? We'll see. Who knows? But we were out there. We were trying to keep up, anticipate what's going on. Yeah. I love all the season 3 strange new reviews coming in the comments. Who's here? Cassandra's in now too. Yay. Of course, what am I behind? 30 minutes behind in real time. Yeah, Philip. Daily Star Trek news. Oh, RIP. It was all digital. Yeah. Because it was owner fatigue, and it had been passed off from owner to owner, and it was just a format that didn't take off. They were trying to do things a little bit differently than Trek Movie did, or even Trek Central or Trek Core. There we go. Oh, really? Go Thunder. Okay. Like I said, not the bad fan, but I would notice. If the Dodgers or the Lakers are doing good, bad, or indifferent or whatever, you kind of notice, but it's not the sport. It's just not the sport. Same thing when the OU women's softball, if they're going for yet another national championship, they've had 4 or 5. It's an institution now. It's like Bud Wilkinson's Sooners in the 47 straight in football in the 50s. Speaking of Star Wars, we lost Michael Pennington. I'm well aware of that, Donnie. Used to be the Seattle Supersonics. Team shift. Don't blame me. If you had asked me if I thought a basketball team would ever make it in Oklahoma professional when there's not a professional football team, population base is there, I guess. I said at the time they'd better be winners because Oklahoma won't tolerate a meh team. And they got there. They've been pretty much there most of their history. They've been so close and then finally broke through last year. And then there was the year that the playoffs interfered with SoonerCon, and SoonerCon lost their hotel rooms because a game went late. Yeah. That was fun. Fun times. You like Star Wars, but you're more of a Trekkie. You just can't get into the Star Wars TV shows. Most of the movies were entertaining. Yeah. I don't get what the there is. Let's see, everyone. Yeah, that was our topic today, Cass, about the publications going away. But is that about the franchises and the IP, or is that just us changing? Because I thought Star Wars would be around a little longer. And apparently Doctor Who is still happening. It's still there. Is it still printed on newsprint? Is it printed on newsprint? Somebody should know. Okay. Looking at opinions about soccer. Hey, Shelley, you never did get the fan magazines. I don't think I really knew they existed until the internet told me. Oh boy, the official Star Trek fan club magazine, finally just called Communicator in 94, started as a newsletter Dan Madsen did. And when they sent him a cease and desist after the first movie in ancient days, Gene said, why don't we bring him in instead of excluding him? Kid in his parents' basement in Denver, in Aurora. So yeah, the Star Trek magazine, the official magazine, started in 1982, 81 or 82. The anniversary magazines must say, yeah, one-off things they can just bundle and put into stores, and if they sell well, fine, they can print more. Yeah. Aw, Joe, you were raised on Starlog and the Communicator. Yeah. Speaking of books, Liz Koslowski's book on making the D Bridge is coming out. Yes, indeed, Sean. The Timelines book and Liz's book about the D Bridge. Is that November? Yeah. Only 17 minutes in. Superb. Dr. Gould is on the bridge. Thank you, Doctor, for joining us again. Oh, look at this. In the 90s, if it wasn't in a magazine, you didn't consider it official. Well, that's communication. But yeah, that was permanence, right? It's the old thing of it must be true it was in the paper. It must be true it was on TV. Yeah. We weren't naive. We just had better institutions back then with guardrails. Duralta, yes, you've heard about the 2-screen writing. Yeah, you're going to be hearing more about that second screenwriting. You thought the topic today was going to be the big 60th panel at SDCC. I have a feeling it'll be big and maybe make a few announcements, Shatner let it slip. Yeah. Did you really think after the 50th, when Star Trek finally broke through to the Comic-Con world and had Spock on the cover of the actual paper program, and we had the premiere of Beyond, it had been the biggest Star Trek footprint ever in the Hall H era, in the Comic-Con era. It's like in one fell swoop, they caught up with the last, 15 years, 10 to 15 years, they'd been absent and piddly. And even with the JJ movies going, it was just one-off moments. So the 60th, since people are making a big deal about it, the 60th as big as the 50th, there was going to be something. The studio being in flux may feel like a downer, but aside from Strange New, right, and Academy, still, it'll be interesting to see how they, in fact, this should be a topic we get closer in, how they harness the vibe. Can they turn it? Can you turn the tsunami and make it an energy force, or do you drown in the tsunami of feelings? Do you go, there's no more coming? Or do you say, yes, it feels like we're in a vacuum. Let's fill the vacuum. And here's some announcements. I hope people are running the show enough to get that and do that. It'll be interesting to see how much of a stage these last couple of seasons, 3 seasons of the outgoing shows take up versus maybe something new and who's doing it. And Shatner's talking, which means that Shatner is seen as ageless and a throwback and a tieback. Maybe the new owners, they're not quite there with somebody like Frakes. Jonathan, we'll see. Is he ready to take on that mantle? of being here in the States. But we'll talk about that closer in. Sure. Thing. You have Jared. Hi, Jared. You have every issue of Doctor Who in both physical and digital format. You would happily pay for all of Star Trek and Star Wars Insider in digital format. I've wanted to get, they did that for Starlog and then it went away. At least it's being offered. But I've wanted to get Communicator scanned for ages. For our 150th issue, we did a centerfold and I got Dan to do this. He has since sold his collection. But at the time, we got every cover scanned and we did a big poster of all the covers. And the first 2 or 3 or 4 were just typed newsletters, which is, it's always cool to see that. And then you had like the little digest size ones, and then it went full size. Of course, some of those years it was full size. It was half a catalog with a few pages around it, and then it became more and more a magazine. Yeah. You'd like Doctor Who if you got into it. He uses intellect and romance instead of brute force and cynicism. Oh, I know. I haven't followed the modern ones, but I did get caught up on the classics. The classics. Isn't, Joel, to screenwriting like the thing in the 60s where TV was kind of like radio, as they thought someone might be cleaning and not looking at the screen? Yeah. Well, there was a whole movement there in the early mid 60s when Gene was in the group of people that thought TV writing was pablum, and all the live drama, all the cutting edge was being drained away to sell tires and toothpaste the way Gene thought. And he was very, when the era of Mr. Ed and I Dream of Jeannie and Bewitched, and all the gimmick shows, My Favorite Martian, even though they're beloved now, as far as what's on TV, what versus what it could be, there was a lot of debate in the Writers Guild with TV critics. There was a lot of that going on. And we have in the Trek files and Gene's files, we have letters. He was interviewed he and 4 or 5 other writers were interviewed with what's wrong with TV today, or why is TV so dumbed down, like around 62, 3, 4. Yeah. I mean, Paladin on Have Gun and his Lieutenant Rice on the Lieutenant were not typical characters. Yeah. And Mags do make you sad. You mean the ending of Mags makes you sad? Yep. Okay, we're talking Legos. Okay. Fun thing about the Lego ideas, the smart bricks, and then the Held said, no, we don't buy that. We need to show those in power that we don't buy that anymore. And I concur. And yet I thought in the instance the same. I thought concerning people, boy, you can do that, but the chances are you won't get started. Yeah, that's what I said in 2017. Are you stupid? They don't see nuance. They just go Star Trek or not. Okay, you don't want Star Trek. Fine, we'll move on. People, it's not a buffet until you have a buffet built. Doctor Who magazine's primary readership is in the UK, yes. And the UK culturally is a lot more print friendly than the US is. Very true. Newsstands are still a thing in the UK, maybe even in Europe in general. Yeah. Philip, you're not alone. You're not alone. Yes, that was exactly the reaction I wanted. I was being sarcastic. Did I do a /S? Must have forgot it. I was being sarcastic. I may have even said old fogies over 35 at some point. You think we're there now, Astral. Every day I see a new AI advancement. My new smartphone has so many AI features. You can tell them, turn them no. Yes. R.I.P. Star Wars Insider. Sounds tasty. They're too useful not to use. Yeah. Oh, here you go, Ghoul. Starlog, Fantastic Films, Film Facts, Outre, Fangoria, Gore Zone, Toxic Horror, on and on. I had boxes and boxes of them. Well, I guess with a name like Dr. Ghoul, you would lean into the horror and all too. I never cared about horror. It was either scary or it was a parody. and that would be fine. It's more than the idea that the powers that be think that we are too stupid to watch a nuanced story because we're on the smartphone while we're watching a movie. Exactly. That's what I said. 2 screens. This screen and then, then this little screen. The kids perceive how and where they get information is totally different. They don't have our frame of reference. You stick by Rue Morgue, one of the few that's always worth the cash. All righty. Oh, this is the way. One nice thing about digital magazines is can be adjusted, hopefully, to be readable, meaning you can make the font size bigger, hopefully. Oh, yeah, we used to have so many debates about colors and font. Yeah. When we do a redesign, people would gripe that well, that's so fine. You've redesigned it into oblivion, Michelle. That was a short moment on the soapbox, boss. Today's show. When Lynn wrote Hamilton, oh, I didn't know you were on first name basis, Sean, but okay. When Lynn wrote Hamilton, he read actual letters written by the men in the show and quoted from them to make the dialogue. We won't leave any records behind of what we said and did. This is my worry. We have one big EMP and bang, it's all out there. You have every issue of the fact files from which Larry contributed to. Oh, Timothy. Yes, from day one. Used to have all the old official TNG magazine comics from the 90s, but my mom sold them all at a car boot sale without asking years ago. Oh, Timothy, I'm sorry. Luckily, I still have the fact files, though. I have a set of fact files, everybody, that I'm going to try to get out and sell to someone that wants them. The shipping, and they are half assembled and half still in their mailers. It's the shipping that will kill you, but yeah. You like that? I know Casey. I could do that. Yeah, Casey started off doing more than the minimum too, so I thought I would reward him a little bit. Yeah, Omni. Wow. Omni, which did an interview with Gene back in the day. Yeah. It was Omni. Omni was a science fiction magazine put out by Penthouse. Sold on grocery store newsstands. Hey, my figure. Ed, I'm doing just fine. You're booming. All you startup whippersnapper young kids with your shows and your social media stuff. Everybody's having a boom time, amazingly, as the attention span goes away from Fresh Trek. Nothing wrong with saving trees. I know. I'm just using it as a term. One could just podcast the magazine or open a website and do a podcast. Yeah. Yes. Published by Penthouse. Sci-Fi Playboy without the fold-outs. I think it was Penthouse. We are Trekophiles and read the Trekophiles, except it's spelled, there's no hyphens. It's like Anglophile or Francophile. That's why I say it's Trekophiles spelled with an F. It's not a PH in English. But don't tell John. John apparently thinks it with the hyphens make it look like Bit O' Honey, which if you're American, especially in the South, you'll know the candy. Thank you, Christian. It's a sign of the times. It seems like print magazines are becoming a niche market as online publications continue to expand their reach, especially as news breaks in the online environment more often. Yes, indeed. It's about turnover. The meetup is every other Monday on Mission Log Patreon. It's worth the $1. They are fun. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for the. It's still just a discussion group. Hopefully, we'll have episodes of Trek Files to talk about very soon, and some big ones. Chuck A made it! Yay! 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 There we go. Oh, I'm a gem. Content is everything. Thanks to admin and everyone. Have a great day. Thank you, Cass. Thank you. I mean, by this time, what's the point if it's not decent content? And you know how I love that word. What's the point if it's not if you, what's the point if it's just applesauce? Yeah. Whistles the advertisement jingle. We're selling stuff you do need. Is that a German thing? European thing? I don't know. What, Deralta? What are ye having for drinking? You mean in here? Just Diet Dr. Pepper. Now, come on, Cassandra. Good gravy. I am not a movie. Oh, wait. That was national something else. Plural. Can you spell who be the we? We will have planning. I could go look right now and see. Do I have anything? Oh, I don't want to look at that. Let me see. I'll just see real fast if I've heard news. Within the next day or two, I'm sure we'll be saying. We'll be all over your socials. But if you'd been part of the Patreon, if you'd been part of the Trek Files Patreon, we talked about it. I talked about it yesterday. So I'm going to preserve that surprise for their value, their $1 a month value. Let me just see something real fast here because we're live. We'll do it live. We're doing it live. Is that passing into obscurity or do people know? I might know. We are going to have our season premiere for season 15 on the 19th. On regular Tuesday. Then we'll have a second episode just 3 days later on the 22nd, and then our next episode on the 26th. There you go. There you go. There you go. And I am superstitious because we haven't recorded the first one yet. So you will start seeing for sure advertising by Friday evening, Saturday for Tuesday. But right now, I'm just saying, one way or the other, we are going to be back next week. So yay. You heard it. You heard that first. The 19th is our comeback first day for season 15. Mm-hmm. That's all I can say now. Otherwise, it's not just a matter of spoiling it. It might be jinxing it because it hasn't happened yet. We are riding the rims. Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry. I hope you're feeling better. Hey, Shelley. Yes, there was so much at the beginning you missed. Well, you missed my soapbox from the beginning. Yeah. Shay Films. Hi. Is this your first time with us on a Tuesday? You can lurk, you can sound off, whatever you want to do, but thanks for coming by, making it by. Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it. I've got to get on with my planning. National Geographic magazine, the organization and the magazine started in 1888, hugely successful, stopped paper copies in 2023. Yeah, talk about the end of an era. What is that? Almost 150 years, almost 140 years, 135 years. Is that what it is? Westmore used to subscribe to it as an inspiration for alien species. Yes, for one thing. Yep, I remember. I remember my uncle and aunt loaned us the John Glenn Friendship 7 issue. I remembered seeing the graphic about how they were worried about his heat shield. I was scared. I was scared. 5 years old, looking at graphics in a magazine. They do, but it's not the monthly, right? Somebody correct us. Timothy, this is long for the window. One day, humanity will likely have another dark age, but this time a digital dark age where all recorded history is deleted, but this time because it's all electronically stored and someone thought that the servers needed to be neutralized. If we don't record things on paper in physical printed media and photographs and protect these things in libraries, the digital history is lost with the flick of a switch, but probably for the best if AI had messed up all the digital records too. That could be a Sophie's choice for a future sci-fi what-if story. Hey, Jared, your Star Trek Cruise away team member, Terry, watched Lower Decks for the first time in her cabin on the cruise and fell in love. How lucky for her that you had Tawny and Eugene and Noelle right there. There's a strange new zombie episode. I saw plenty of paperbacks about red shirt zombies, but well, it sounds like a riff on Marvel zombies to me. STLV will be awesome. Yeah, I know. I'm feeling a little disjointed this time around, but there we go. All through the pandemic makeup years, I didn't feel the way I'm kind of feel like all over the place. I guess because I'm involved with a lot of things that I'm not totally in control of. So I can't know for sure how and when and where along I can have things to talk about. See, this may happen, Gerhardt. And hi, Gerhardt. We're really coming in from the continent this day. This is what I'm saying. A passage of time may alter how we view the series. It sure happened for DS9. Big time happened for DS9. And probably is starting to happen for Enterprise too. Whoa, you watched 3 seasons over 10 hours a day? You think binging can be negative, as in you have a lot longer visit versus looking forward to something every week? This is what I mean. I can see pros and cons. Sometimes the waiting from week to week heightens differences that otherwise might just flow. Not sure. I mean, we need some time. We need some perspective, right? This perspective of time and distance. Geralt, you had lots of fun. You even liked the holodeck episode, even though it was just an excuse for Anson Mount to grimace. You did. You did think that, huh? Yeah. Zombie episodes named Shuttle to Conforey, a nod to the OG Dawn of the Dead. Yeah. Yeah. Has 3 plots going on at once. You have General what's his name's venge-seeking daughter, only vengeance in a twisted way. You've got the pandemic outbreak zombies, and then you've got Pike's girlfriend, Captain Patel's issue going on back home. You like the mugging that he can do. Think 4.5 Falcons. Some people would rather not think of 4.5 Falcons. Yeah, you don't want actors doing 12 to 18-hour work days. Or how about crew during 18 or 20-hour days? Because crew have to be there. Some crew have to be there before the actors and after them. Think of the makeup team, for starters, hair and makeup. Doctor Who fans have more money now than they did then. Back then, they were pledging it all to PBS to keep the show on the air. In America. Yeah. Was I on set for House of Quark? Any funny stories? No. Unfortunately, I was not. Our man Bashir, I got to see, and a little bit of how did we do this? I saw a little bit of Little Green Men. I keep thinking 18 might be a little more than 15, but way shorter than 26 or even 22 or 20. Okay. I was going to even say 18. Even say 18. What do you mean we don't need? we could take 26 if they wanted to give them. Kin Forey, such a great moment up on that upper mall level. Yeah. Philip, you have some copies of some of the Trek mags from the 90s and aughts, but you're still sad they don't exist anymore. No, it's a cost thing, and it has to be a loss leader. It can't be a loss leader. Yeah. Did they miss cave writing? Don't know. Ask Johannes von Gutenberg. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. You kept reading Star Trek Explorer magazine right to the end. Well, a lot of people did. A lot of people read Communicator up to. A lot of people had unfinished subscriptions that were pissed when Communicator ended. Well, Stargate was a shooting star. Stargate was a bigger comet in the sky than some shooting star shows I can name you, like Firefly. Yep. Oh, Christian, I didn't know this. As a librarian in real life, thank you for considering your print magazines to a library. Oh, yeah. I can take the tax deduction. It could have helped you for a project you were working on a few weeks ago. Yeah. I have the boxes. I need to reorient them into order. Stargate had SG-1 with 10 seasons, Atlantis with 5, and Universe with 2. Almost gives Trek a run for its money. It was starting to get there. But still nothing compares. Nothing compares on American TV. Doctor Who is the only thing that comes close. Hey, Jim, good to hear from you. And yeah, I have a box with Starlog 1 to 100, and that's when I cut it off. Because by then I was like, it's not the same thing that it was in the beginning. To me, in the place of the world. In the beginning, that's all there was. And by 100 issues, 10 years later, it was okay. Star Trek Scan, hopefully it was laid out like the Akutogram. You couldn't do anything in the 90s or the early aughts without it looking like an Akutogram. That's the way StarTrek.com was. Oh, I will pass that along to Allison. Astral, you like daily Star Trek news. Do I watch the Soccer World Championship? I know it's in this. No. Maybe the fight, hey, Melanie, yes, we've been on. You kept checking Facebook and YouTube, but y'all weren't on. Oh, no, that's weird. That's very weird. Yeah. You came in an hour in at least. Yes. Sorry about that. Timothy, have I hired anyone to transcribe the Treklands to a paper just in case we have a digital dark age? I think about that at times. Not that we have a digital dark age, but I think about getting this material usable. I'd love to say, oh my God, I was talking about this 10 years ago. And I'd love to have the proof and the date. It's like when I proof and date something with a Will quote, where Will used the phrase trickle down in 1932. The same way that Reagan used it in 82. And with the same sentiment. Okay, what do you think, Sean? Not a question, but today you learned TIL. TOS through Enterprise actor Joseph Rushkin's first wife remarried Richard Hurd 4 months later and stayed married for 40 years. It's a small town. What can I say? Oh, Dr. Gould, the live chat is hiccuping a bit, but it's handling the feed. Good. I hope we are good on our feed next week. I may have 4 guests on at once, which would be a first, I think. Talking about Joseph Ruskin, yes. Your first magazine was Star Trek Fact Files, where you got a little what, 14 pages, 12 pages every week? Yeah, we're working on the same thing. In fact, I'll just tell you, if all goes to plan, that's who we have next week. The Timeline's authors, hopefully all 4 of them, which may be a bandwidth fantastic time. So would I. I have all the material for an Enterprise companion book. I have all the big, long, sit-down interviews with everybody. Yeah. There was talk they wouldn't spend any money promoting SNW over the anniversary. There you go. Frakes is the king. Yeah, but don't tell him that. It'll just swell his head. Their show, dropping names. I love their show. It's just so relaxed. What you would love to see, Duralta, a workshop, how to write a Star Trek novel. Probably never happened, but a guy can dream, can't he? I think somebody's done that kind of thing over the years, more than once, different people. There have been, 24 Star Trek novel writers here somewhere? Not sure if you saw the mags back in the 80s or 90s in the stores, but you have all the tie-in books back when books were $3. Yeah, well, the books are fiction. I'm talking about the show, the making of. Oh, sure. Famous last words, Melanie. Yep. Okay, Sean, maybe a topic in itself, but do actors get recast due to availability mainly? I know original Moogie didn't like the makeup and some of the story with Manu and Taremi, but it's it's a lot of factors. Maybe the actor has aged and they're not really up to taking on a huge demanding role versus maybe just an appearance, yeah, sometimes the actor has, oh, excuse me, guys, it's live, and that's not about you. Sometimes the actor has made themselves uncastable for personality, or I hate to say politics. If it gets that extreme, most of the time no one cares, but when you go very extreme, it can damage the value of your production. If somebody's in a trial for abusing their wife or something, or their girlfriend, not the best box office draw. Or they've aged out. They were young when you remember them, but now they're in their 50s and they'd have to, or they get them and they CGI them, into youth. It's all kinds of different. And yeah, a reaction to the makeup, all kinds of different things. I can't stand shooting in the Caribbean. Oh, wait, that's Death in Paradise. Well, one several times. One constantly on upgraded. Correct. Yes. It could be this too. They may say we just made a mistake, a choice. Yeah. Aubrey and his sitcoms in Pablum. It was a dark time. You were not alone, Timothy. You were not alone. Yes. Just wanted your Trek. That was enough. That was fine. Um, oh, okay. All righty. Oh, look. Hi, Heather. This has been a long time. You have been actively involved in print media since you were 17, and I can tell you that the world is shifting away from it slowly but surely. You think slowly? I thought we were at the slowly but surely stage 5 years ago, or maybe even 10. Like when we were trying to pitch that magazine, that digital magazine. But yes, inevitably. What's that word? Inexorably? 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 Not often that I can't say a word. Inexorable. Inexorable. Wow. Yes, slow but sure. Okay, all the Who Doctor Who love here. Oh, Heather. Hi. You miss my cheerful presence. Come to Vulcan sometime. You mean Vulcan, Alberta? If they would have me, I would be there. They can call me. They can talk to Lolita. Be happy to go. Happy to go. But it has been a while. Wow. Good to see. Good to hear from you here. There's Pedro. What magazine got canceled? Star Wars Insider. I'm sure some. You have some of the fact files too. Still have them, I think, until the 100th fact file or something like that. Well, that was amazing. People would, when the novelty wore off of, flowers or wildlife or fighter airplanes, by 50 or 60 or 80 issues. But Star Trek went for over 400 issues because it was Star Trek, and there was a huge, and a lot of the stuff was being documented in real time starting in 1996. And a lot of things had not, this is part of the Tales from the Licensing Route. A lot of the material, Star Trek was being created so quickly and it was such good stuff that there was nothing pre-internet, there was nothing to contain it. And pocketbooks were just sitting fat and sassy on their encyclopedias, not about the Okudas, but the frequency. And there were years and years of new show, the 52 new episodes a year, especially from the Alpha Beta quadrants, and no way to track it unless you did it yourself or you did your own concordances. And Pocket wasn't about it. They were on a book schedule, not on a Star Trek demand schedule. And Fact Files, for the global audience, Fact Files came in and just said, fine, we'll keep up with everything and do it in these 3D exploded room drawings and ship diagrams. And then all of that went into the magazine in the US, and people were like, oh, why can't we have this all the time? It's like, because it's already been paid. Your high-end magazine, $8 or $10 an issue, is a drop in the bucket of the cost. And this is only helping pay off what we've already paid for with Fact Files, which went into some, there was Italian Fact Files and French Fact Files for a time, German Fact Files. Anyway, that's that. How are we doing here? Yes. Oh, Pedro, we'll start to hear all this. And oh, okay. Oh, the ad jingle doesn't exist. You just made it up. Hello, Rose. It's good to see you. Thank you so much. It can be tricky, Pedro. It's not that things aren't overcomable or manageable. It's just finding the right doctor, the right treatments in the right amounts, the right mix of things. A lot of it not pharmaceuticals, sometimes therapies, or sometimes just activities. Yes. Larry isn't a national treasure, but anyone that can write upside down and backwards at a Halifax Halcon is worth a bunch of good regard. I don't think I've ever done that, if that's what you mean. But yes, I would say anyone that can do all that is in high regard. Yeah, it can be a hunt. It can be a trying process for the very people who aren't equipped to undergo trying processes, as if anyone should have to undergo a trying process to get help. Thank you, national treasure. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I did have it right. You have been watching target audiences' reactions, and they don't allow spoilers. I really have had to exert self-control, but it's so excruciating having to zip my mouth to prevent spoilers. Well, people will appreciate you doing it. Or maybe you just take yourself out of that situation. A ref can get so old, the reference of it becomes the original for most people who don't know. Yes. I love these first time watching, which have sprung up now like an epidemic all over the internet. And people are watching something and they go, oh, is that where it came from? It's like, really, if you're going to put yourself up for doing a show, can you do some basic research? In one episode of The Office, Steve says, Dwight, you ignorant slut. Yes. SNL from the 70s. Yep. Which itself was a parody of Shayna Alexander and Nicholas von Hoffman on 60 Minutes. Did you know that? The Jane, you ignorant slut is a parody of the Point Counterpoint that was on 60 Minutes on CBS in the 60s and 70s. Shayna Alexander and Nicholas von Hoffman, and I remember that. People would want to say, Shayna, you da, da, da. Yeah. Did I have a look at the UAP files that your president just released last week? The UFO files? I've seen people put them out. Quit calling him my president. It's just Trump. Ugh. I didn't vote for him. My state didn't vote for him. Did I know the Guinness Book of Records was originally made for setting pub arguments as a reference source? The fun is gone. Now you just look it up. That's funny. I did not know that, but I guess that explains the Guinness. Sponsored by Guinness? Yeah. I thought that's why we had Memory Alpha, was to settle bar fights over here. Nat Geo was always in your grade school library. Best source for female imagery I ever read. And yes, you just flashed me back to a moment in the 8th grade when a whole row of guys got in trouble in 8th grade English. It's funny. Very funny. Could very well be. We haven't undergone mass planetary panic yet. Of course, the way the world and actors in it have been going the last 2 or 3 years, especially last 5-6 years. If we haven't panicked by now on a mass scale, I don't know what's going to do it. I don't even know if First Contact would do it. They took it pretty well in Bozeman. I've just been reading about this, Jared. You were the only person in your family who knew how your grandma made her chicken and dumplings. It took me 5 years after her passing to let them in on the secret that the recipe was printed on the side of the flour bag. But passing on recipes as a matter of heritage and rarity is a thing that people are starting to get into. It's what I did with all my mom's stuff. You still think all of the CIA stuff is not going to be released, which will be the interesting stuff. Well, I have this feeling too. The world didn't melt down over it. So I'm like, how much can be in? I know there's thousands and thousands and thousands of pages and records and things. Oh, concerning the digital dark age, Captain, in one of your fanfics, a Stargate Star Trek NCIS one, you had the Third World War delete all the information about the Stargate command. Well, there you go. The records were fragmentary from that period. Regarding print, regarding print surviving in Europe longer, it's easy to distribute across one language area in Europe, yes, than all the US. Many things not daily are actually printed in Poland or Southeastern Europe, even for German, French, or UK market. Makes sense. Yes, the multiplying languages across a smaller landscape. Enterprise is good in spots, but has all the classic signs of studio meddling in spots. Yeah, also a weakened production staff. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Mbinga's plot. I was trying to think, what was the thing between Pike and Mbenga? Mbinga's plot, Marie's plot, and the zombies. Well, Mbinga's plot was the fact that she was the daughter. So I had that. Ken Forey was in the Dawn of the Dead. Pat Tallman was in Night of the Dead remake back in 1990. You could always tell her stunts, ironically, because she's much taller than Nana. Yeah. What? Don't worry about crew working overtime to make more episodes. Just send in Scott Beckett to help carry all the equipment. No one yelled at Spock. No one yelled at Scott to stay in your own union. Yep. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Dr. Gould. Yeah, very true. Gosh, Tim, that's a great idea. I so agree. Well, Dr. Duralta, I said the same on my second opinion for that episode. So other people did too, though. They did what they did. They own it. Yeah. Well, I don't think it's quite that simple. I think there's more than that. But yeah, I'm with you. Because they don't see the ancillary market of the way it used to be, the way they're sold. They do go a little faster. They also shoot with multiple cameras, which adds to the cost. Instead of having one or maybe two cameras like the 80s, they'll have four. Yeah. You guys talking about the show budgets? That's an interesting thing, but I want to get verified numbers before I went into the weeds with it and used brain power on it. TNG started at $1.5 million in 87 and supposedly was still that same, although the shift had happened. They were, by the end, they were spending more on people than on production, on like physical elements. No, I never said anything. I never said anything about Michael Caine to begin with, much less that he died. Sorry, Melanie. We can talk about Michael Caine. Doesn't have anything to do with Star Trek that I know of. Yes, Joel. Yes, Jess. Release the Star Trek Pack files. You can buy them. You got to figure out what price to put on them. They're half collated, half pure. TNG remaster cost 18 million, less than 1 to 2 episodes cost the Academy Fighters. I know. This is true because of the CG. Although Voyager, well, DS9 had no CG in it really until the last season. Voyager was midway through. Mm-hmm. Oh, I did not know this, but there you go. Started as a panel idea. There you go. Ted Turner, R.I.P. Captain Planet. Yes, big environmentalist. Thank you for that insight. Judas. Okay, book inflation over there. Yeah. Oh, I didn't. Maybe they didn't see it. He called it Munich and not Bonn. Cologne. Where's FedCon now? Well, that's Melanie. That's the soap realm. Soaps recast people all the time because people's careers are going in biggie. There you are again. Hey, Heather. My goodness, it's been a long time. If that was meant for me. Any show stuck on video, I can't get it off through the film negative, or if a cartoon needs to be I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with that. You're pretty sure you saw Jess Bush at a piano bar. I hear you, though. I hear you. I'm not blaming the citizens of Toronto. I'm just saying. Fan sourcing the editing. That would be wild. Wait, what show? You talking about Here Come the Brides? Did we mention Here Come the Brides somewhere? Oh, not Days of Our Lives. Here Come the Brides. Days of Our Lives is a daytime soap opera. Oh, or come to Lethbridge, Calgary, Toronto, or Edmonton. As Will Rogers said one time, if you invite me, I'll come, but don't invite me if you don't want me. If they invite me, I will be there. Because corporations don't want the hassle of crowdfunding, and they don't want it to feel seemly. Like, what's the matter, Paramount? Don't you have enough money to do it? You have to have the fans help you, like your little rinky-dink outfit, like your little indie outfit. I mean, it's unseemly for a corporate. I mean, maybe somebody has done one, but most of the time, it's like it used to be unseemly for any actor to go do a signing show. It meant your career was over. That's the only way you can bring in money for your rent and your crumbs. Oh, they all have entertainment expos, Comic-Cons. You should come to one of them. Like I said, Heather, get one of them to have me. Here in the 60th year, 60th budgets have probably already for the year have already probably been spent. Why doesn't Paramount crowdfund restoration? This is what I just said. They're not gonna stoop to doing a crowdfund because it'll make it look like they have no money or they're desperate. Or they don't want to get tied up in the legalities. A lot of small independent people, movie makers, documentaries, they don't like crowdfunding because they eat up so much time to service all the stuff. If there's perks and giveaways, yeah. I totally agree, Judas. The experience was in Vegas for 4 years before anyone thought to have a real convention there. It's like, oh, duh. But I like that. I've never been to. Actually, I take that back. I was at a little convention in the 90s in the mountains, and you have to look this up. There was a little convention, actually. I think it was called Intercon for Intermountain. I think it was called Intercon, and it was in Kamloops, and it was in winter, and there was snow on the ground, and I flew in, and it was just amazing. It was a small con, and I'm like, why? Like, how did they find me to have me come in? So they had small guests, and we were in the mountains, and I have to go back and find my photos from this. But it was in the 90s, so it's not like, you have a million great digital pictures. I just remember it was cold outside, and I really need to go back and revisit that. But that is the only time I have been to a con in Canada. Love to go. Love to go. It was a great bit of pre-planning on the part of the Timeline's authors to send the franchise into hiatus so that their book wasn't outdated the minute it hit the shelf. Well, there's another couple of years. Did they come up with a Akiva fix? He blew up the timeline and didn't give a replacement. Yeah. That's one of the things I'm waiting to see. If they step in where Akiva didn't, because that's what we've done as fans up forever. They blow something up and don't even realize it or know it or care, and we go in and fix it so we can all be sane and sleep at night. Oh, was the International Star Trek Fact Files also coming with file folders? So you take page 1 out and file it under the binders? Oh yes, binders and stickers and bears. Oh my, yes. This. Unless you had all that legality written out somewhere and made people like sign it 5 times. Oh, I think I got that twice, but I'll agree with you again. I agree with you again. So my second Canadian, my first in the East, and my first since the night. Boy, now I need to look that up. I wonder if it's on my con badge board over there. I need to look that up. Wow. The aliens would land. Hello, we're aliens. And the people would just say, you can't land your spaceship there. No, they would land, say, hello, we're aliens. And people would say, quick, get ice over here. This is true too. The JFK, the UFO stuff, it can come, but heaven forbid the Epstein files be released. Yeah. There you go, Philip. There you go. Yep. Well, did you really think they would be exciting and just they're not even a distraction, like a wag the dog distraction. Some guy tried to outrun Borg quantum disciples. Yep. I want to ride my bicycle. Okay, how are we doing here on the chat, gang? Not taught much about it, but Robert Wolfe's Andromeda was amazing at the starts. Yeah. Yep. Would not. Oh, here. Would not surprise me a bit. Wouldn't surprise me a bit. Yeah, this is going to have to sink in a little bit. Gerhardt, I have to, that nuance, I have to get back to. I just remember Shuttle to Conforey was one that actually felt like an adventure. I was kind of amazed they crammed 3 plots into one show. A plot, B plot, C plot, where they used to make fun of that. Who was my favorite from DS9? Yours were Julian Bashir and Garrick, and I still love them, even though I've never had the pleasure of seeing either of the actors. Oh, okay. Did you follow Sid City during pandemic and the times when Andy would come on? Michael Caine was amazing, and being in the yes. All of a sudden, every episode, Sorbo is kissing a new love interest 20 years younger than him every single week. Ugh. Yeah. It was a parody of Kirk, the way people think Kirk was, and that's not it. Yep. Maybe for bits and pieces, Pedro, but Gary Hutzel held off because he didn't like the system where your CGI was delivered by magicians in labs. He wanted to be able to be hands-on with it the way he was with shooting models motion control. And it really wasn't until the last, I think the last new ship built as a built physical model ship was the Romulan shuttle late in 6, for Far Beyond the Stars, right? No, the other one, Pale Moonlight. I'm talking about massively, almost exclusively, and for the massive battle scenes. Yeah, there were CGI bits here and there, but across the board, and the way that Voyager had been doing it for 2 or 3 years, Gary was like, we are not having aliasing. We are not having that shiny CGI look. We are not having the visual effects houses call the shots and say, here, take it or leave it. He's like, we're going to come up with a system. And that's why Doug Drexler learned CGI model making, so it could be brought in-house a little bit. We talk about this we talked about it in interviews. I don't know if I ever got them published or not. Only 15 behind, so approaching the chat. Okay. Thank you. Munchen versus Cologne. The FedCon is in Bonn still. Okay, but the office is somewhere in Bavaria. Right. There's something like 50 producers on the show, so that's yes. They didn't even produce enough of the new uniforms for yeah, there were just those 2 or 3 models, right? York tells the story that he learned English because the translations of the Trek books came out 18 months after the English version, so he refused to wait and had to learn. There you go. Oh, I found my Jorg photos when he came over. I think it was 2012. He came over, and I did kind of we didn't call it that at the time, didn't exist, but we basically went to all the main locations and have pictures. Jorg was getting notes, right? He was doing research, and I was giving it up for free. We just had a day, and I went around. I remember especially Bronson Canyon. Yeah, I thought FedCon was Bonn way back in the beginning, but it's Bonn all the time. It was Bonn all along. Saw Colomini one day in Dublin walking down the street in a dark Z-beard. Oh, in the dark, and heard him before you saw him. Was it night? Too Star Trek to say anything to the Union Man. There we go. Ishmael. Yeah, that's what I thought. A few Star Trek actors were on Days of Our Lives. Well, how about Delancey? It was Days, right? That's the only soap that Jane and Karen watched, and so that's how I knew him. You know, it's 2026, and if Paramount would get off their high horse, they can do anything. And maybe younger minds, new ways, Mr. Scott, maybe the new change will do something like this. But I almost want to say the pride of Ellison will be like, no, we'll do it. It needs to be done. I agree. So we'll do it. Throw the money at it. I mean, they were penny. The last 10 years, 15 years have been horrible financially they didn't do a movie because they lost their Chinese financing and couldn't afford to find other financing. Remember when Pine and Hemsworth pulled out because they wouldn't come down on their deal that they had already signed on to, and they didn't want the perception that they would back off a deal to go cheaper for something. And they said no, and so the movie didn't get made. Yeah. Oh, looks like we're at the end of the chat. End of the chat is on the horizon. Oh, you guys keep talking about Bond, FedCon. There you go. So long, Donnie. You bet Scott was like that because he wanted to get home for dinner. Well, he lost his first wife through Quantum Leap, and he blames the crazy hours for that. So he was very strict about monitoring his time fairly on Enterprise. In answer to Sid City, the answer is complicated that I'd rather not talk about in public. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to didn't mean to get into anything there. I bumbled into it. What is this? Oh, Sheltuk and Fori is also had a visual reference to Run Silent, Run Deep, with the two ships almost drifting into each other. You can't get away from Robert Wise. There you go. This is what I mean. Voyager went into CG. Gary was just a stickler, and Voyager kind of normally went into it when everybody else was. Yes. There you go. Do some shows follow the plot of the Broadway show producers for the show bombs if the producers got paid and the investors got screwed? Yeah. Or you mean about the bit about celebrating Nazis as a satire that's lost on at least one person? Yeah. Did I watch Legend? Oh, yeah. That was Michael Pillar's show. That's why he left Voyager. That's how Janet got a job working at Voyager, because Jana went with Michael to be script coordinator for Legend. And it was a great show. And I remember the party. Michael had a debut party at his house, and we all went. And we were all like, "This is awesome. This is awesome." Yeah, Richard Anderson. And Delancey was in Legend, and we were all going, "Yay, John Delancey's this," and what's his name? And they never, John Delancey was on UPN, and you would think that UPN would be advertising Delancey's face, but it was like Jerry was never, what was that medical show that Jerry Ryan was on? And what's her name from China Beach was the star medical show, and they never had Jerry in the commercials. They never had Delancey in the commercials. The other one wasn't on UPN, but this was. But you would think they would put the person with a following in there. And I just always thought the lead actor in each one, my head theory was that they had a prohibition against sharing screen with anybody. It was a thing. Never heard that confirmed, but I always wondered. Anyway, I was amazed that UPN never showed Delancey's crazy inventor character in the commercials for Legend. I'm like, I think a lot of people didn't know it existed, but Q fans by then from TNG, yeah, he was Eugene Bradford on Days of Our Lives. Played the snooty Vulcan on Enterprise. Do I think they might rescan the negatives for DS9 Voyager and upscale the visual effects like other TV from the 90s? I don't know. You've seen people do bits and pieces, and you saw maybe the Voyager, the DS9 and the Voyager rescans and bits for the documentaries. Okay, I am corrected. All righty then. I thought American productivity was the highest in the world, but it's because they work such damn long hours. You know, not you wimpy Europeans that get 30 days off for summer vacation, summer holiday. Oh, I missed the silent running. Yes, Huey, Louie, and Dewey. First film I ever saw at a sci-fi convention was Silent Running. I wandered in and went, oh, this is a film room. And there was Silent Running. And I didn't know it was something I had missed for a few years. First movie I saw at a film room at a con overnight, not counting the bloopers at a daytime Trek thing. Springtime for a certain someone we don't want to talk about. And the land I'm from. Da, da, da. Giving you my Harv Bennett look from the Connor Wrath. Yes. Oh, Chris, today was your retirement reception. I just mentioned that earlier. Well, congratulations again. Welcome to the crazy world of retirement. Different kind of insanity than work insanity. And the kids. Body of Proof. There you go. Dana Delaney, Body of Proof. Co-starred with Bob Picardo on China Beach. Of course, I can depend on you for the entire history. Thank you, Christoph. By the time Bond was on our radar over here, I knew it was Bond. That's it, FedCon. By the time FedCon was over here. What are you saying? If only Michael Piller had stayed on Voyager, we would not have got more. Could have got more Kazon. No, only joking. Yeah. Well, I mean, he is a grown man. He is a grown person. I think he may have been getting a little tired by then. And look at the way they treated it was a whole different critter, a whole different sausage machine. But look at the way he got treated when he did his screenplay for Insurrection, what became Insurrection. Yeah, Romulans are boring. Oh, Delancey was also in SG-1. Okay. Yeah, that happens sometimes. If you have the clout and its power and you can show your client what you got for them, sometimes the agents screw things up for. Just talk to Judson Scott. Oh, they've got Sid. Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Thanks, Chris. He was a much younger actor too back then. Okay, I thought we were. What I thought. Yeah, Silent Running 72. I saw it 6 years later. I thought the chat was running down, guys. Dana Delaney was in a movie called Exit to Eden. Dana Delaney got famous on China Beach. And then, yeah, Body of Proof later. She probably did some movies in between. If only there was a source where you could just look up credits of anybody and anything. Oh, she was on this? Okay. I didn't watch Desperate. I watched it go by in the ether, but I never actually watched the show. There was a DS9 companion. Yes, Paul and Terry wrote it. Lucky stiffs. They got to start in the beginning and they got to turn it in way late and cram it. I wish I'd had that kind of ability, but then I didn't work in licensing. Well, thank you. Thank you for that comment. But there is a DS9 book, yeah. And Voyager was intentionally, don't blame Paul, they told him intentionally to make it skinny. Don't go into huge depth. Yeah. You know who said that. Sir Patrick said that in 1998. Oh, yeah, real into the chat. Real into the chat. Hey, Matthew. Matthew Simone in the house, everybody. My goodness. No, magazines was my opening soapbox, and then we just went into chat. What are you saying here? You're gonna outlast the Restream box. I'll have to follow you up. You had a nostalgic moment and was thinking back to Stardust magazine from 1999 with still Borgified 7 of 9 on the cover, who had just been recently out of the show. My mom sent me that magazine. This is what's left, everybody. Matthew says, my mom sent me that magazine when I was an exchange student that year in Europe to help keep me in the loop of all things sci-fi and Trek. I found the same issue on eBay a few months ago and bought it. I didn't remember what the issue was, but I found it through searching image cover archives. There really is something to having a physical issue of these things in our hands. Go touch the Phoenix. Go touch your copy of Stardust magazine. I'm sure you appreciate that too, having been a magazine editor yourself. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I can remember, well, as an editor, and I think the way you're talking here, I think readers who got it and consumed it, much less the people that worked on it and made it from their end. But I remember references and things, and I thought, oh my God, there's a picture of this. We had it in the communicator. Like, I'm looking online for something. Go, where is the picture of blah, blah, blah? And it wasn't mine, so I know it came from somewhere. Has it disappeared in either? Or moments like that, or so-and-so, they said that in an issue of Communicator. Majel's letter where she opposed the DS9 war episodes was in Communicator. And then we used it for Trek Files. No. And there's a story about that. They had a designated author for it. It wasn't me. But once again, that author came and apologized to me that I knew daily in work. I knew them, and they apologized to me because it wasn't their idea. They didn't go campaign for this behind my back, and they knew that I wanted to do another one. And that would make 3 in a row. But then before he got to start working on it, they decided that they pulled the plug and said, well, no one reads books and everything's online. and Enterprise is a failed show, and yada yada. So no, they never did make it. I could make one in 6 months because I've got all the interviewing from 2001, 2, 3, 4 done. And I don't mean actors. I mean all the behind the scenes people. Yeah, I could probably turn it out in 6 months. Easier now than I could have done any of the times I worked on the companion back in the day. Well, in 1998 he did. And then who was used as the last TNG bad guys? Romulans. Who was used as the bad guys for the first Kelvin movie? Romulans. Which Michael Piller lived long enough, not the second, but the first time. I got to look at him and say, oh, look who's the bad guys in Nemesis. And he was just, he was just like, yeah, tell me about it. Now they're okay. Well, think about the way Romulans had mostly been treated on Next Gen, and they were absent from until the end in the Dominion War. There were no Romulans in DS9. They didn't. Romulans were just like the, bad Vulcans. They didn't really utilize them, and even when they brought them in for the war, for the Dominion War shows, it was kind of like, well, we just need more factions. We just need to show factions. Yeah. The same genius who allowed season 1 of Picard. Now. I think again, I think that was an early take that didn't change. This is all part of the equation. This is all going to get sorted out over the years. Yep. Would I need to pay rights to anything new, or is the money all yours? Well, Sean, if I want to use photos from the show, then it would have to be a licensed book. If I just wanted to write an analysis and put it out as a book and have line drawn illustrations, have my friend Kevin or anybody else do line drawings again, like we did for the original concordances, to get around that, then yeah. Would have been nice. Yeah. It's a fake. You guys, hey, Willie. Yeah, I mean, William, you're preaching to the choir here. Michael's story, he spent so much of the script having to invent the Son'a and the Baku. It took up screen time that we would have just known already with Ron. I mean, he had to invent 2 different cultures, and they all had to be fleshed out. And you don't think the staff would have rather just spent more time on Romulus? And then, ironically, Nemesis, you did see the Senate. You did see Romulus again. You did see Romulan ships and crews and people. You saw factions. The Rahansu in books. Yeah. Yes. Car chases in Star Trek. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Crowdsource my Enterprise companion. I got to get a documentary. I said this 10 years ago. I'm not doing any more books, even of my own initiation, until the doc is done. And then, stellar cartography fell in my lap. I couldn't say no to that. Otherwise, yeah, it's waiting on Con of Wrath to finally get done. Then we'll see. Game of Thrones was such a success because of the Romulan-like factions voting for control. Well, I was always likening Game of Thrones to Klingons, and said, just if you wanted to do, instead of Discovery, just do Star Trek House of Thrones. Or no, Game of Thrones, Game of Houses. That's what you should have called it. Star Trek, Game of Houses. And it should have just been the Klingon Empire chugging it out at some point in history. Well, yeah, but Future's End was set in 1996. The sad thing about where were we? The bit about well, we've already lost it. The bit about the car chases in Star Trek was they should have been hover cars. The fact they were on wheels just looks so cheap. This is supposed to be a major sci-fi franchise movie, and we're on wheels. Really? Was because it was way cheaper than all the visual effects for a 5 or 10 minute scene. Well, then don't do the 5 minute scene and put back in the character bits that you cut to make room for that. Hindsight. 24 years of hindsight. It was fun. But again, I remember thinking, well, it just looks like they're too cheap to put in hover cars because that would be too expensive. Yeah. Well, I'll just tell you guys. Here, I missed this. If it ever comes up, everybody tell the world I have the material sitting here. I would want to go and maybe freshen up, but I have original material from the time, that I've used, like I have everything else, but it was all sitting there. Some people have passed on. Maybe some people would talk now that wouldn't, the way Next Gen was in the beginning. A lot of the people, the merry-go-round of writers on season 1 on Enterprise. Yes. And some people that have left and might still be burned, I talked to before they got fired or let go. So I actually had some good timing. Anyway, gang, I think that's it. Have we talked? Have we talked? Have we chatter? Have we talked? Music Man, everybody, Music Man. Doesn't know the territory. I know somebody that does know the territory. Boom. Are all of my Patreon folk. Yay. Thank you, guys, gals, peeps. Thank you so much for the Patreon help. Again, if you want to help out, if you want to join my simple Patreon, it's $5 and $10 a month. Patreon.com/Trekland Live. I say it every week. I'm going to get on UTTL or the live wires. I'm going to get those done. It's going to be a busy week this week. And one of the things that's busy about this week is we're recording our episode 1 for season 15, our season opener. Hopefully it all goes well. And then we will be giving you 3 episodes in 2 weeks' time, according to the plan that I just saw. I think we've agreed on. So be watching over the weekend for news of our opener. And if you were with me on Trekophiles tonight on the Roddenberry Mission Log Patreons, if the official community for Trekfiles is over there, and I did mention who we were talking about, and there's a clue, the wacky Trek file from Gene's files that we're pulling out to open with. So check out the Trek files. You can still see all 14 past seasons there at thetrekfiles.com. It's our page on Memory Alpha. And again, if you're coming through town this summer sometime, fall, whenever, check me out. We will work out a Trekland Treks for you, a day tour, figure out your 4 sites to go to. We'll have a fast food lunch, a Quickie California fast food lunch, and I'll be with you the whole day to make sure it's the most awesome away mission uniquity that you ever had. All right. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, it's Larry Nemechek on Blue Sky and Twitter. It's Larry's Trekland on Facebook, Instagram, and here, ring the bell if you can on YouTube. Subscribe wherever you are. Do all the things. Spread the word. And Portal47.net, your best backstage pass to more in-depth Trek with a 30-year witness to Front Row Star Trek here. Help explain and navigate the weirdness and bring on the backstage folks and just share all that as much as we can. Portal 47, I used to say, is where no savvy fan has gone before. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today on our topic. It felt so distant and yet so close. And I think about all the Titan editors who worked on Insider, who were on Star Trek also. I feel like the Queen with the prime ministers going by, I said, including some that repeated. Yeah, John and Toby and I just went blank on her name. Sam? A few of the editors that circled around. Anyway, fun times, changing world. This year's going to be a year of change, year of flux. We'll see how we land, how we come out of it. We'll see if we get any surprises from the summer cons. And we'll talk more about that as it gets closer. So for now, everybody, please, until next Tuesday when we've got guests coming, a lot of news coming up in the next few weeks. Hopefully we'll be able to start sharing a lot of fun, short-term news and bigger stuff. But we'll see you next week. All right. Until then, please, everybody, stay healthy, do all the things, stay awoke, check your sources, and trek well, everybody.